So today's lesson is a third in a series so far during our shelter in place. So today's lesson is Elements of Art 3. We're going to use landscape, our subject, the cabin in the woods, to display our understanding of the elements of art. So this is what our final project will look like. We will have a cute little cabin surrounded by some trees in the woods. It's on a meadow with some flowers, and in the background we have some hills, a mountain, sun, and some clouds. So we're just having fun with this one. My name is Miss Liberty to my students. Miss Liberty, and let me review with you a couple of things that we're going to use from the elements of art that we did in our first lesson, and introduce you to some vocabulary that goes along with that. So I'm going to write these things down just in case some people don't have the volume on, but just to review. So today we are going to use, I'm going to use my blue color pencil. We're going to use line. We're going to use shape. We're going to use form. We're going to use color. And we're going to use texture. Some of the lines we're going to make is we're going to make horizontal lines. We're going to make vertical lines. We're going to make angular lines. We're going to make some jagged lines, and we're going to make some curved lines. And today's shapes, we're going to use specifically a lot of different types of shapes that are called quadrilaterals. And the types of shapes we're going to use are parallelograms. But the types of parallelograms we're going to use are rectangles and rhomboids. Form we're going to make is we're going to make cube-like shapes. We're going to use lots of color. Do you guys remember our primary colors? Red, blue, and yellow. And we're also going to use texture. So when we do our trees, we're gonna give it some texture. When we do our grass, we're gonna give it some texture. And when we do our roof shingles, we're going to give them some texture along with the porch on our cabin. So we're gonna do some little wood grain on there and use some pattern as well. So now I'm going to move on to the lesson, and we're going to go ahead and start. So the materials you needed was a blank sheet of paper. Let me get my blank sheet of paper out. And we're going to start with our pencil. Today's lesson starts with a pencil. We're going to use the same sketching style that we used in our second video where we did the self-portrait, and we used light lines. So the value of our pencil lines are going to be fairly light. So what we're going to do is over in this bottom left area of the page, we're going to make two lines parallel to each other. That means that they go in the same direction next to each other, and we're going to make them like a couple of inches apart. So I'm going to start with one vertical line here. Now I'm drawing a little bit darker than you should because I need you to be able to see it on the screen. So move the camera. So there's one vertical line, and then across from it, parallel to it, we're going to make another vertical line, and then we're going to do a horizontal line across the top and a horizontal line across the bottom. So now we have a rectangle. So we're going to make another vertical line just about an inch over from the first line we made, and it's going to be a little bit higher. It's going to start higher than this one. So this one starts here. You're going to go up here. Hi, Mom. How are you? Thanks for watching. So do another vertical line about the same length as the first one we did. Now we're going to take the bottom of that vertical line. We're going to attach it to the bottom of that line. And we're going to take the top of it. We're going to attach it to the top of that line. Do you guys see what we're making? Do you like that? And then I showed you guys this. So now we're going to do a nice little triangle. I'm going to start with the top of the triangle first before I do the bottom of the triangle. There we go. That's better. Woo, calm down. All right, so then we're going to erase the lines right here. So these two vertical lines are still here. They touch the side of the triangle. And these two lines touch the side of the triangle. Bam. All right, so far we're starting to look like we have a cabin. So erase those lines too. So let's give our cabin a door. So we're going to do another rectangle. It's going to be our door. We're going to do a little square. That's going to be our window. We're going to put some window panes on it. We're going to put a window on the side of our house. That's going to be a rhombus, which is a slanted square. I'm going to put some window panels on there too. All right, we're not really going to decorate any more than that yet. So let's give our house a porch. So the horizontal line we had here, we're just going to take this line, we're going to extend it out. We're going to do the same thing on this side. And then you do another horizontal line, and there's our porch. So let's give our porch some wood decking. So we're going to do some lines that mimic this one, so they're all parallel. They go in the same direction. Doesn't matter if your lines are straight or not. This is just a fun little drawing. Let's put a doorknob on there. And we can even give it porch posts. You just take those lines from there and go straight down. So this is even better than the last one I drew because I have a porch post. So now we have a little cabin. It's not really decorated yet. We're going to go back and do that when we color. But we need to give our cabin some space, which is also a really important part of our elements of design, because we're going to take our subject and we're going to put it in an environment. And to start to give this guy an environment, we need to give our landscape a horizon line. So I'm going to go just above the center of the paper, because what I want is for my horizon to go behind my house. So I don't want it to go up here, and I don't want it to go way down here. So I'm going to make a light line that's going to go across. Doesn't matter if your line's not straight. So there we go. That's our horizon line. So that's where if the sun were to come up, the sun would come up from there. But we're not going to put our sun down on the horizon line. Our sun's going to be coming out from some hills. But before we get to our hills and our sun, we're going to add some trees. Now, to make trees, what we're going to do is we're going to sketch triangles, and then we're going to give those triangles some texture to make them look like trees. So starting over here, I want a tree right next to my house. So I'm going to do kind of a little triangle right there. I'm going to give my triangle some legs. So that's going to be my tree stump. And then I want some big trees that come into the space, into the foreground. So this triangle is going to go all the way off the side of the page. So just imagine there's a big giant triangle right there. And then I'm going to do another triangle, which is going to be our tree right there. And then I'm going to do, let's do one more. And this one's going to go like this. So that's going to be our tree. So we're going to go from the center. We're going to add some stumps to our trees. We won't be able to see that one because it's behind that tree. And then I also want to put some trees on this side to kind of balance out the space, because the house is pretty heavy of an object, but these trees are going to be pretty heavy over here. So I'm going to add another triangle over here. And you can put your trees anywhere, so just move your triangles around. Just remember, the smaller and the closer it is to the house, that's the space it's going to be in, and the further away it is, it closer to the viewer, it's going to be bigger, and the further away the smaller. So here's some more triangles. We're going to give them stumps. Now we're going to make these look like trees when we go to add the texture. So we have our house and we have the triangles for our trees. Now we're going to take some curved lines and we're going to do some hills in the background. In my previous drawing, what I did is I put the mountain on the right side and the hills on the left side. But now that I look at it, because I have all these triangle shaped objects here, the triangle shaped mountain looks a little redundant. So I'm going to move the mountain to the other side, which means my hills are going to go on this side. So we're going to do some curved lines that are going to start from the horizon line, and they're going to kind of go up like a jelly bean, or an Easter egg edge, or just a curved arc line. And then I'm going to do another one over here, and that's going to go into this one because this hill is behind this hill. And then I'm going to put my mountain over here, and just imagine there's a big giant triangle back here. This goes out of my space to kind of make it more interesting. Then I'm going to use a jagged line here to be my snow line. So that's up here is going to be snow, and this is going to be mountain. Okay, so you guys see how we're building up a composition right now? Composition is the whole work and how items or subjects relate to each other in the space. We're using balance by moving my triangle shaped mountain that's heavy on the opposite side of my triangle shaped trees. So balances that a little bit better. We're going to add some emphasis, mostly because we're going to put the most detail in the parts of the work that we want you to focus on. And then we're going to use some pattern. Rhythm is part of pattern, and unity will be our whole thing complete. So now that we have the back of our landscape, we're going to go in and add some more detail to our cabin. So our cabin is missing a fireplace. So what we're going to do is we're going to give our cabin a fireplace by going above the fireplace and making another rhomboid. So that's two horizontal lines that are parallel to each other but at an angle, and then we're going to connect them to each other. Then we're going to take the most outside corners and bring them down so that they hit the top of the roof, like that. And then we're going to give it some texture by doing some more lines that are going to be the bricks in our fireplace. So there, our fireplace has bricks. At least it looks like it. Okay, and we're also going to give our roof some shingles. So we're going to use a pattern that kind of looks like fish scales. Except it matches each other instead of going in between. So it goes like that. So we're going to do that. Starting at the bottom, and then we're going to do it over and over and over again. So go ahead and fill up the space with those arched lines. Just keep going. If you wanted to, you could also do slats like this, where you just do straight lines like that, or you can also do it like that. So you make the lines and then you kind of just do the arcs after that. So now we have roof shingles. All right, I'm going to finish that later when I add the color. We could also add some wood grain to our deck boards. They're just swirly lines if you're not getting in with too much detail. And we're going to give our windows some curtains. Some curtains. And so now we've got plenty of detail on our cabin. Next, we're going to add the texture and the detail to our trees. Which at this point, I'm going to switch over to my color pencils because I don't think I'm going to need to erase the marks I'm going to make, because the rhythm on the trees is very organic. Organic. It's very organic. So it doesn't matter what you do, you can't really make a mistake. So I'm going to switch to my green color pencils, and I'm going to start to put texture on my tree. So we're up in the hill mountains, if you think maybe a Tahoe-esque or Bay Area, wherever. Your trees look like pine trees or coniferous trees. So you kind of do this jagged line with kind of an arch. Kind of an arch to the shape. And you're going to go all the way down, and then you're going to go across the bottom like this. All right, and so you're going to do that to all your trees. I'm going to do this big triangle in the front first because I want to show that he's in the front, so every other tree is going to go behind it, so you won't see this right here. And there's all sorts of different ways to do this. If you want it to look more realistic or your stylized, you can go ahead and do that. I'm doing it this way because it's pretty easy and accessible, and I think when you're finished, you'll be happy with what you get. But if you've been watching the video for a while, or if you just came in and you didn't watch earlier, I literally made a mistake. And I grabbed a new sheet of paper and I just started over. And that's okay. We're all just learning. I'm learning how to draw while on camera and answer questions when the camera's on while I'm drawing. And it's not easy to take your focus back and forth. So just forgive yourself for making mistakes while you're practicing. Jagged lines. We got one more tree. You could also go like this if you wanted to. That would be pretty fast, right? Okay, so we're going to put more of that texture inside of our trees. So we're going to, that same shape we were making, we're going to kind of do it. And look how I'm just kicking the pencil back and forth. And that's how I'm making my lines. Remember, this tree is behind this tree, but in front of that one. So we're going to see everything out here. And this tree. So we're giving it texture, so it looks nice and bushy, nice and full. Thanks for still watching, Mom. And do it to this tree, but this tree is behind two trees, so we don't see a lot of that. Not a lot of work to do there. Can't forget about this tree. That's our little yard tree. What we don't know is eventually that tree is going to get as big as these trees, and we planted it way too close to our house, and we're going to be in for a bill when we get that one removed. If you're a kid, you won't understand that until much later. Tree maintenance is expensive. We're still adding textures and what kind of a pattern that gives rhythm. All right, so I'm going to put the green pencil down for a while. We're going to use it again, but not right now. So one of the colors I wanted to include in your colors for the day would be brown, because we're going to do some tree trunks, and we're also going to do our cabin in brown because it's made out of wood. It's a wood cabin. So let's do our tree trunks. Those are just 2 lines. We're going to do another line there. We're going to do this guy tree trunk, and we can kind of see that one back there. Now we're going to outline our important lines on our house. So we're going to do these 2 vertical lines. We're going to do this angled line all the way out to our deck and copy it over here. We're going to do this horizontal line. We're going to do this horizontal line. We don't have a lot of form other than the cubic shape of our house. So we're not giving like form to our posts. They're just lines. So there's my porch post. There's the other side of my house. So we're going to do the end of the roof there. We're going to do the edge of the roof there, edge of the roof there, and then our roof kind of goes back behind the house. So that's what that little line is. We're going to do that horizontal line there, and then out to there. Our fireplace is made out of brick, so we're going to do that in red. I also want to do my door in red, and I want to make my curtains red as well. So I'm going to wait until we use black to outline the windows. Well, no, let's just do it with brown. Let's be consistent, and then we'll go color the curtains red. Okay, so I think that's all we need brown for. You might want to, if you want to do logs on your house, just make a bunch of parallel lines to the bottom of the house all the way up to the top, and then they go like this. And do some squiggly lines to give it texture. But we're going to color it anyway, so you won't be able to see too much of that. All right, so let's do our red door. I'm going to lightly shade that. We're going to do our red curtains. There's our curtains, and now we're going to outline our fireplace. And don't be afraid to make a mistake. I'm gonna color that in. And we got our little brick lines. And now that this is just my coloring style, so I outlined it, and then I'm gonna color it in. I'm gonna shade it in at a lighter value than the outlines. I made my roof in the last version orange, so I'm gonna grab my orange, and I'm gonna trace some of these tiles. I'm not gonna trace them all because it would take another long while of you watching me. So I'm just going to color it in. You could outline all those lines if you wanted to. And I need gold for my sun. So instead of just doing that, I'm going to get my pencil back, do my sun. I'm going to have my sun come out of here. So there's my sun, and I want to give my sun some crazy wavy lines just to give some motion to back here because it's groovy. So then I'm going to take my orange and outline my sun, color it in, and then do my rays. All right. We're going to take our green back and we're going to do our mountains. So we're going to outline our mountains, but what you could do if you wanted to is you could do little marks of texture, but I'm just going to do some outlines because they're far away, so I don't think they need a lot of detail. That's one way to give it atmosphere. We're also on a meadow, so we're going to make our horizon line green because that's the grass, and so I am going to give that texture. Put some little grass up there. I'm going to fill in the middle ground with some more texture because there's grass all over the place. It's a nice little meadow. So I'm going to make a bunch of these teeny tiny vertical lines. Show grass, and my grass grows over my house and I go right over the top. Yeah, we don't mow the grass at my cabin. It just grows right up to the house. I don't mow lawns. I'm going to give lots of those little marks. So hopefully you're enjoying yourself. Maybe you learned something. We just drew a 3D object in space. Our little cabin is a 3D object because it has depth. You can't just see the front of it. You could also see the side of it. We used pattern when we did our roof and texture when we did our trees. We're using color, of course, my favorite element of art. We use space because today we did a landscape with an object in it. All right, so there's the grass on there. So I'm going to go ahead and also lightly color in my trees. I'm pretty much going to color all this green. So it's just a big bath of green. My color pencil needs sharpening. If you need to sharpen your pencil, feel free to turn the video off for a minute and come right back. You could always catch up. Big bath of green. So we also have the green mountains. If it's summer in California, you could just color the mountains orange. But right now they're green because it's raining. We almost forgot about a mountain back there. So let's go back with our mountain. So we're going to use our black color pencil. We're using that today. I'm going to use that to do my mountain lines. And I'm going to use my gray lightly to make, I'm going to use my black very lightly to make gray. If you're using colored pencils, you can kind of etch like this. You can do the same thing with crayons too. Another mountain. And let's give it a blue sky. No outlining needed to be done. I forgot to put a little cloud in there. It's okay. We'll do a cloud next time. And we're going to color in our little stumps. We can even make our grass grow over the stumps. That's what I'm going to do. I'll come back in here with green. I'm going to take the orange and do my doorknob over here. And the brown to color in my tree, my cabin. We didn't do our deck slats. There we go. All right, take my marker and I'm going to tile this. Cabin in the woods by Miss Liberty. Oh, forgot the smoke. That's the smoke coming out of my chimney. And we'll do some happy little birds flying over the horizon. I forgot to add my flowers, so you could take any of your colors and put in some pretty little flowers. And my flowers are just dots because we're far away, so you wouldn't be able to see what the flowers actually look like. So make some little dots all over the place. Lots of little dots. I've got red flowers. Mine are wildflowers, so there's all sorts of colors. I can even come in here with yellow flowers if I wanted to. But I'm going to go ahead and say they cluster together. All right, so that's our cabin in the woods. We did landscape today. We used the elements of art that we learned in lesson 1, Elements of Art 1, and we made a masterpiece. I'm proud of mine. Are you proud of yours? If you did the lesson with me, or you're going to do the lesson in the future, feel free to comment on the video with your cabin in the woods. I'd love to see it. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.